because we get to do some deep dives into a few resumes. This is something that as we start to do more um, kind of mechanical resume kind of development work, we'll see more of these. But we did want to start with some of our board members that just, maybe felt a little bit more comfortable. And so we can start to open up that to other people to see that this is a safe place for learning. And so I'm super excited about today. But welcome. And of course, we're going to read our mission, and that is to enhance and improve the resume writing and career search industry of Arizona, to ensure quality work, fair prices, and ethical practices, to remain current with changes in our industry through continuing education, and to develop the knowledge necessary to maximize employment opportunities for our clients. And so with that, welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't think we have any guests with us today, and so we are all members and friends and familiar with one another. Really quickly, I'll move into the meeting survey responses. Overwhelmingly, our membership has raised their voices to continue with virtual meetings, at the very least until there is some sort of treatment, vaccine, something in place. And Arizona right now is currently just one of the worst states in terms of coronavirus exposure and hospitalization, et cetera. So certainly we want to do things that are in the best interest of everyone, some of which are personally battling health issues and others that are maybe caring for loved ones who are dealing with underlying health conditions. And so thank you all for your responses, for your support in saying that, that whatever the decision was made, that you would still not ever consider leaving the organization. That I think warmed my heart, above and beyond the actual results. The fact that you guys felt so strongly that you would stay with the organization was very, very needed and good. So thank you. All right, and then we've got. Go ahead.
Can I ask something?
Yes, of course.
I can't remember what the survey was asking, but did it have anything about time? The time that we have our meeting?
I think. No, I didn't. We didn't ask about time. It was strictly around returning to in person.
Because I'm concerned that so many of the new members aren't coming to the meetings, the virtual meetings.
The beauty of it is that we are still recording them, and so perhaps they're still able to just, watch them once their calendar allows them to.
Okay, I didn't remember that part.
On the interaction that we're getting to take advantage of, but I mean, grown folks are going to do what grown folks are going to do.
Oh, I get it, but I just thought if we were so inconvenient for them that maybe we could make adjustments, because I would think that some of the newbies who are new to the industry too need a session like this more than anyone.
Yeah, so we ask about schedule changes pretty regularly, at least once a year. And it'll come around again, likely in like October, as we're starting to finalize the programming for 2021. And so it'll come up again just to make sure that that's not something that's a stumbling block for members. But thank you for that input. Okay. And so we've been working behind the scenes on a video marketing proposal. And I just want to kind of share we're still kind of working out some of the kinks here, but we wanted to launch a video marketing kind of campaign, if you will, and create some sort of a visual for our members to really share a little bit more about what they do specifically, who they serve, kind of what's their differentiator. The links to those videos could be used on our website, and certainly you could use them in your own personal marketing journeys. And then it would be something that we could also use to just continue to broadcast and share who our members are through our RWCA Facebook page. And so if nothing more, it's the motivation behind it is to attract new audiences to you, and to really just kind of help with any kind of business marketing initiatives. This would not be anything that's required or anything like that. Certainly you'd have the option if you wanted to participate or not. And as of right now, Jerry actually came up with some really good, just fundamental questions that could be answered during these videos, with some kind of background suggestions and different things. And one of the things that's being discussed right now is the possibility of you either doing your own video and just submitting it, or us doing like an interview scenario. So we're still kind of ironing that out. And I'll just kind of say, personally, I want to be able to interview each person, so you're addressing the same questions and the format is kind of in a sync. But just know that that is coming. And as of right now, I am looking at early August to actually get those all recorded, and they would be super quick, right? So the duration of these videos is something on the order of 90 seconds. So they're not like these really long-winded things, but just kind of stay alerted to the fact that this is coming, and be thinking about if you want to participate and kind of what your messaging is, who you serve, and what do you kind of want said about you. And because you're totally in control of this thing, and I'll just simply be there to ask questions. So any thoughts on that before I just simply move on?
Well, if we're going to use this as a marketing tool, well, I saw Jerry's questions too that she had sent. Thanks so much for doing that. But I imagine people may want to use this as like an elevator pitch almost too, so that if they're using it for something marketing and ask, I don't know. Well, we can talk about asking all questions and all the rest, but.
Yes. No, she's right on the money. Again, everything is not it's not completely ironed out at this point, but just know that the motivation is really for increased exposure to you guys, to all of us, right? To all of us and our respective businesses and the people that we serve. And so video presence doesn't hurt.
We did it a few years ago, and I videotaped people and then gave it to them individually. Not sure what it did for those who participated did with them, but at least they had. I think it's a great idea for us to have them, collectively maybe in a place that we can pull from and use some things from. So great.
Yeah, and feature different members at different times. And so I just love that so many of you got some really special things going on, and I just think it's time that we can reach additional audiences if we're not just marketing to our own independent channels, if we're actually reaching it out through the RWCA. So really good stuff that I'm excited about. And so stay tuned for more firm information and details on that coming very soon. And then Jerry, were you able to send out those bylaws? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, she did.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. You're awesome. And so I certainly thank Rico and Jerry, because Donna, like, you are super good at the Robert's Rules of Order. I am not. This is a weakness for me. You're muted.
Not super good. Not super good. Just
Well,
kind of.
But it's a definitely a weakness for me. And so I love when this is why we have a team, so that you have other people who are more knowledgeable in other areas that say, hey, you can't just send out bylaws and say, let's approve them. You got to give people at least 30 days to review them. And so thank you for getting those sent out, so that we do not have a formal meeting in July, but we will go ahead and formally vote on our updated bylaws in August. So please look at those, actually read through them. If you have any changes, this would be the right kind of time to bring up any changes. And so with that, are there just any questions in general right now?
Are you,
Okay.
this is the only time to bring up the changes that we have, that we might want to bring up?
No.
No, because people still need that time to review. So the changes could absolutely be discussed in August when we're preparing to vote.
Okay, wonderful.
So yeah, I can't imagine that everybody has already read through them.
Hardly, yeah.
And just please know that the foundation of our bylaws has not changed drastically. Some of the bigger changes were around like attendance requirements that we eliminated a couple of years ago. Like our dues structure has changed. And so we've just made the bylaws more accurately reflect our practices today. All right.
Do we have standing rules too, or just bylaws?
We have standing rules.
Okay,
Um,
I didn't remember.
I will have to really dig to find those because
Oh, I can if I need them.
I was
Do you
gonna say-
want me to send them to you if I
I
find them?
love that. Thank you.
Yeah, because I never throw anything away. I'm sure I have.
Like I was looking for them, but I think that they were updated before my time in
Oh, then it's been a while. Yeah. Yeah.
And then moving on here today, we're going to do the first of several resume deep dives. And so we do want to make sure that we have some additional folks lined up for the next session of deep dives, which likely is going to happen in August. And so if you want to volunteer immediately, go ahead and shout your name, say something, and we're going to get you on the roster. And if you want a few moments to think about it, I will move on through the remaining agenda items and then come back to this. But do think about it. And at some point, we just want everybody to have an opportunity to go through Resume Deep Dive. And this is, let me kind of explain the point here. It's not to rip your resume writing to shreds and to say, you're a terrible resume writer, how dare you? That's not the goal. The goal is for you to become better, to identify any areas that may not be in alignment with best practices today. So it's not about you being a terrible resume writer. It's about you becoming an even better resume writer. And so that is the
And that's why I want to see those new people,
right,
in these meetings and participate.
So, but even some of us who are a bit more experienced, like I would never claim to be perfect.
No.
And so even if we can get to the point of, no, I'm really good, but if I can become just a bit better, that's awesome. And so I even, so as Rico sent out the samples, and I was looking at, Lori and I feel like we have a very similar writing style. But then when I looked at Jerry's, I was like, oh my gosh, I was blown away. This crazy, creative, just beautiful looking thing. And I'm like, I just don't think that way. I just don't have that same kind of vision. So I feel like I'm already learning something even before Jerry has had a chance to really go into her reasoning. So I'm very excited about this, and we definitely want to hear from everybody. And so if we're not getting volunteers, then I'll reach out and just say, hey, it's your turn next. And so we'll kind of do it that way, but we do want to make sure that everybody gets represented in these deep dives so that we can go into 2021 with a whole new arsenal. And I think it's going to be great. We had our open board meeting earlier this month, and I'd certainly like to thank Maureen and Donna for participating in that. You answered the call, you were there, you offered some inputs, you asked great questions, and I believe I speak on behalf of the entire board in saying that your presence was appreciated. It is good to know that we, your board, are not just kind of in a vacuum, that you recognize that this is open to you. and that you have a voice. And so thank you for using those voices. Any other announcements before we jump into minutes and treasury? Any other announcements, updates, good news, anything going on that we can celebrate?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My daughter just finished her residency, and she is for her specialty for obstetrics and gynecology. I am so excited for this baby. They're not doing a graduation because of the COVID-19 and all the rest. And so I'm planning something else, a virtual and a drive-by with the caravan of cars and the rest. It appears she's gotten several offers, wonderful offers, thank God. It appears she's going to sign one that's in Tucson. So she won't be that far away. And I've already been down there looking for places for her and all the rest, and so I can go decorate and have a little bit of fun.
You can come and visit
Oh,
me.
Mom.
Child, I mean, the baby that I birthed, and now she's writing me prescriptions, and just wow. Just let me say that backwards. Wow.
Wow.
That's something very exciting.
That is
Sure is.
Wonderful.
Thank you for sharing that. Like, I am overjoyed right now. I'm like, I have never met your daughter, and I'm about to cry real tears. That is exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And what a testament to you, Mom, right?
Oh,
These kind of brilliant kids do not just grow on trees. So good job. Good job. Yes, yes. Yes. Very, very nicely done. Lori, are you settling in okay with your new place? Is that a loaded question?
There, I just put all the boxes low so you guys can't see them. I won't walk you around. Let's just say
Not
that.
yet. We'll put a pause on the tour.
Gosh. I underestimated how disruptive this would be. And also, living in a construction zone, basically, I'm on a street where there's only 2 houses finished. And there's about 20 others under construction. So,
Wow.
and my backyard is under construction. So it's just been it's been a little challenging, but we're making it.
You know what? And I don't mean to put a damper on anything, but let me just tell you from experience: spray, 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 spray. When there's the ground is disrupted, scorpions come out. So I'm a witness.
Yes, ma'am. I've already found a scorpion and a centipede in the backyard. And yeah, we're definitely having lots of visits from the exterminator. So yeah, thank you for that.
I'll tell you guys about the time I almost left. I almost dropped out of college because they were unearthing so much with new renovations in the dorms that we had mice running all through the brand newly renovated dormitories. They were beautiful and full of mice. And I was the RA, so I was there alone for a week before everybody else. And so it's just me and the little mouse. And I'm like, I almost quit. I didn't, but I almost did.
I'd like to share with you, I got stung by a scorpion about 8 months ago, and I've lived in Arizona since I was 9. And I'm going to tell you something, it hurts. It really does. The poison went all the way up to my leg, to my knee, and I couldn't walk. It took about 48 hours to get rid of the poison. So
Did you go to
it's an adventure.
Because when I was stung, they gave me a tetanus shot. Did you get a tetanus shot too? Martha?
What? No, I didn't. They said don't do anything, just ride it out. We called the poison center, and they said you can't really do very much. But it didn't really hurt, but my whole leg was numb up to my knee. Couldn't put any.
Where you have to suck out the poison.
It's the poison that causes that. Yeah.
Oof, oof. Okay, I'm changing the subject on purpose. I can't do it. Can't do it. So no, thank you guys. It's because because we don't get those same opportunities to just hang out before meetings and such. So it's good that we have these times to just kind of catch up. So appreciate the shares, but I'm changing the subject because I don't like All right. And so with that, let's see. Oh, I think that Career Connectors, I think they canceled their meeting yesterday. I think that was the first time they've ever canceled a meeting. I don't know why. They just said something about technical problems, but anyhow, that happened.
Is anybody getting requests for resume reviews?
I got a few weeks ago, but not really since then.
My
I had
business,
3.
my business has taken a royal, you know what?
What?
My business is really, really down.
Oh,
I had 3 people reach out to me, and I talked to one just before this meeting, actually, from Career Connectors.
yeah, I've got one tomorrow, but yeah, they've been asking a lot lately.
And I've found that at least one of the people that I had worked with must have just had the wrong impression of what that was. He's like, oh, I'm going to send you these 2 other versions of my resume, and I'm going to send you them, and we can talk about interviewing and LinkedIn. And I was like, no, we are not. And so I had to really get good and firm about establishing boundaries. I don't know how Career Connectors is communicating what is happening in these sessions, but at least that one individual just had a very distorted idea of what was going to occur. I set the record straight. We're good. All right. And then let's see, we have a treasury report that Lori submitted for June. Lori, anything to add or to go through? I just wanted to share what you had sent.
Just want to update you on the City of Phoenix check, still pending. We have not received it back yet, but I have returned the check to them, and they are working on figuring out how to correctly send us the check. So we won't do that again in the future.
Let me tell you what's been going on my end that just started in the last like maybe 2 days, and I haven't had a chance to reach out to you, but they are now being told apparently that they need to go in and pay for their own admission and then submit for reimbursement individually. And so I have like 3 voicemails and 2 emails from individuals that are like, send me a link so I can pay the thing. So the saga.
Hey, what thing? What are you talking about?
For the HR forum, we had several participants from the City of Phoenix.
Oh, and then they had to pay. Oh, I see.
And they actually paid through the City of Phoenix. They paid, but they, instead of writing a check to RWCA, they wrote a check to Lori Norris, which would have been a little bit of a hassle for her, like tax and income reporting. And so Lori has been really diligently working back and forth with them to get the check corrected. That led to a whole nother kind of
I get it.
And around the way our
well, we learned a lesson on that, didn't we?
Surely did. And so if nothing more, I'm always a fan of just lessons learned. But the saga is continuing. And so stay tuned. It's going to be a wild ride. I can see already. And then also I wanted to give Lori a shout because we spent some time on the phone with the bank. There were some credit card problems, and so she was able to successfully negotiate some of those fees being returned. And so things really, Lori is a very wonderful treasurer. Let's just put it that way.
Thank you, Lori.
You are welcome. Fun times on the phone with the bank.
Oh, yes.
I think we spent an hour on the phone with our bank, Brenda and I. So Brenda was right there by my side. So, but
What
yeah,
bank do we use now?
We're still with, what's it called? Desert Schools?
Desert Schools, yeah. I'm
Still,
not sure
yeah.
how much longer we'll be with Desert Schools.
Yeah,
but
they've been a pain, huh?
we are exploring those options.
They are a pain, but amen. All right.
Don't go to Chase
Don't go to
Amen.
if you change. As far as an organization's concerned, nothing against them normally, but it's very tough to.
Can't hear anymore.
Really bad. So I don't know about others. I just know they've been awful. Wells Fargo was always good.
all right.
Just
Good
a
to know.
tip.
Yeah, good to know.
Good
Now,
op-
this
Thank you.
report that's up now reflect those changes with the additions of the fees, the returns, or anything, or no? Okay,
It does not yet. No, I will put that in the next report.
super. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
yeah, I think that conversation happened after this report was developed. So
Be clear what you're looking at.
yeah, so good job. All right, so are we all in agreement with the Treasury report? Can we accept it as it is presented?
Yes.
I'm saying
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. Maureen, yes.
Yes.
Amanda, yes. Martha, yes. Lucy, if you're there, let me hear your voice. And yes from Brenda and Lori.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Thank you, Lucy. Good to hear you anyway. I see your picture.
You don't want to see me right now. I'm in my laundry room. You don't.
And then similarly, Jerry sends out the meeting minutes. And so prayerfully, everyone has had an opportunity to review those. Are there any questions or can we accept those as written? So first questions, no. And then Donna, we got the thumbs up from Donna. All right, let me see those head nods again. Lori.
It's already
So yeah, this is my quick and dirty head voting. Martha, Jerry, Amanda, Lucy, Maureen, yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then me, yes. Okay, very nice.
You saw me both times. You didn't say.
Yeah, yeah. If I didn't mention your name, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay.
Brenda, quick question. Have you received the check on those returned fees yet from Desert Schools?
No,
They were going to issue a check and mail it to you, correct?
forgot that was happening, but yes.
All right,
But
just let me know when you get that.
I check my mail about once a week, but on Friday, so I'll check again.
Okay,
tomorrow. Okay.
sounds good.
Did they give you all the money back, or did you just have to negotiate?
They gave us, I have to pull my records, but it was close to
100%,
everything.
but it was really close.
Yes. It was not everything, but it was very close. It was pretty generous offer, actually.
Good, good.
And they returned not only fees, but also interest.
Super. Good job, you guys.
We showed our muscles. All right. And so let's see. All right. And so we are right here at 11:30. So Rico, it sounds like you may have been prepared to share some things. I don't know. I didn't realize that, so I went ahead and put some things here in the slides, but I certainly don't want you to have wasted your time. Let me just briefly go all the way to the end here. So sit tight, because I want to just share about some of the upcoming meetings. And so next month, you all are, so Rico, you get ready to share, and I'll drop my screen share. So next month, we do not have a formal meeting in the month of July, and that will be true for next month as well. However, I think we just can't even help ourselves. We want to just make sure that we're always providing great value and great information to you. And so in light of everything that's happening in the world, we wanted to have just an informal diversity discussion, and just kind of talk about what's on our minds and on our hearts, and ways that we can support one another, and things of that nature. And so that will be scheduled for 11 to 12. So it'll be a really brief, just 1 hour encounter, just a bonus diversity discussion there on Thursday, the 23rd. And so if you're interested in kind of being part of that conversation, that time is still set aside for you, for us. And then we'll continue with our resume deep dives, part 2 again on August 27th. And so what will happen is if I don't hear a lot of people volunteer, I'm just going to ask people to, you know, kind of individually. We'll be looking for 3 more folks to participate. And again, don't be afraid, don't be shy. It's not about a personal attack. It's just about professional growth and development. And so that'll be Thursday, August 27th at our normal meeting time from 11 till 12:30. All right. So, and then the other thing that I wanted to say before Rico takes over is thank you for, you know, I recognize that not everybody will want to be a part of this image, that this image won't resonate with everybody. But I do say thank you to all who did choose to take a stand. I personally thank you. So I don't do so on behalf of the organization. I do so as Brenda Cunningham. Thank you. All right.
Well,
And with that, go ahead, Rico.
the screen up so that you have the resumes up.
I'm sorry, say again.
You have the resumes up. I saw them in your.
I do.
Oh, let's just use yours. That's fine.
All right.
What I would like to do though, Donna emailed me and asked if we could make sure that there was, I see that you just have the 3 from you, Larry, and Jerry, but yes, let's leave that one up, please. And it was in your email, it was listed as number 4. Donna had wanted us to have just a very simple kind of resume, one that we could take a look at for entry level kind of people to for us to go over. So what I provided here is one that was written 5 years ago. So that alone means it's dated, and this is all on purpose. And no formatting has been changed in it. And I added errors for you guys to kind of just, I put in some errors to see what errors you guys could find. And then the other question I would ask is, if somebody wanted to update this, what would we do? Is that a fair enough question for us to take a look at?
Yeah.
That's okay, cool. Everybody else agree with that? Is that all right or no?
Yeah, sounds cool.
Sure.
All right, so then, again, this is 5 years old. So if you take a look at this, and there are some errors. I'd like to see if you guys can find the ones I kind of slipped in here. Several, I won't tell you how many.
Do I need to stop my share?
Pardon?
Do I need to stop sharing so that you can
Look up there. Can you make your screen bigger? But I guess everybody has it in front of them, yeah or no?
Everybody can make their own screen bigger if they want.
Oh, there you go. There's that.
Can't you? Control plus, you can make it, can't you? No, I guess that doesn't work here.
Uh-oh. Are you working to make it bigger now, Brenda?
I was not aware that there was a 4th one, so
No, it's good enough.
I don't see anything. So
It's on your screen.
then I need to stop sharing because all I see is my own screen.
Oh. No, what you had up there was the actual one.
This Mary Beltrans, this is what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll go back into it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Can you make it? Okay, so did you?
I can't make it any bigger.
That's big enough. We can see it, can't we?
I can see it.
You can read it.
All right. How do we want to do this? Are we?
Yeah, no idea.
Are we looking at this and not? I printed mine, so nobody else printed them.
I printed mine as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else print them?
Yes.
I just have them on my screen.
Same here.
Lucy, did you print?
Nope, I've got mine up in front of me.
Okay, good. So you can see it. Right. Everybody can put it up on their own screen then, if that makes sense. All right. Wherever you guys want to start, let's just start. You can talk about how you would make this different. This is 2020. What would you do differently? What would we get rid of? What would we add? And if you come across some mistakes, we can say something, feel free.
Well, Big Mouth Don will start if nobody minds.
Please jump on in.
And Donna,
The reason why I suggested we have one that was a little more simplistic, I know Maureen and I work with people at St. Joseph the Worker, for instance, that don't often have much experience, and sometimes they have nothing at all. And you can't go by all the rules. And trying to get accomplishments out of them is either you got to make them up, which isn't a good idea, or you just kind of leave them off. It's not expected quite so much at the low end positions. So although this isn't a format that you would ever use for one of your paying clients, it's probably more than acceptable for some of the lower end minimum wage kinds of people.
Okay.
But as far as changes, just some things like I wouldn't use the word gained twice. You know, gain knowledge of, gain knowledge of. Yeah, they just, you know, those are just simple things. There's a little bit too much space between externship and where the bullets start, and personal caregiver and where responsible for starts, because the applicant tracking system might very well see that as being a whole new entry with that much space.
Okay.
And then similarly, I see like here it says personal caregiver Glendale, but here Glendale is associated with Arrowhead and not the actual position. I would just kind of keep that a little bit more consistent. And then I see like a extra dark shading
Good, good. That's
going on here.
No, I don't see that. Okay.
So can you see it like now that I'm drawing attention to it?
No, it looks the same to me.
Okay. So yeah, it's a little darker there than it is.
Maybe I'll print this one. Oh yeah,
Yes.
I do on the one that I have in my on my computer. Yeah. Okay.
I would also justify the email address at the top.
Yeah.
And for the ATS, I'd put the street address in Phoenix.
I have a comment I'd like to make. This is Martha, where it says submitted secondary claims. For somebody that really hasn't had that experience, the question could have been asked, how many a day do you send, or how many a week? I think we could get some figures in that particular bullet point without going to too much detail. Get some numbers in there.
quantify.
And updated patient insurance information, maybe something about accuracy that would be very important to qualify the extent to which they are, you know, managing their what they're supposed to be doing at work. They need to have patient insurance information updated with accuracy, and maybe a percentage, 99.9%, because that's really important when it comes to medical information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go back to
That's pretty simple.
put the street address in. Why do you suggest that, Jerry?
The older ATSs are going to want that.
But you can usually fill that in after. I never put in addresses, ever.
Anymore.
No.
I don't on the presentation resume, but I do on the ATS copy, because sometimes they're rejected because of it.
I've never heard of that. Ever. Is that
Yeah,
true?
it's setting, well, no, it's not new, but it's settings.
No, I said true. I've just,
True, yeah.
could you find some documentation for that? Because I've never heard that from any of the classes I've taken.
I'll try.
Yeah, would you?
Sure.
I'll try to look for it too, because I'll go back to it if that's the truth.
Now,
Mhm.
some people will put the city, state, and then the zip code, but a lot of people now do not want to include their address because it takes some people out of the job. Oh, they live too far away.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, or there's some bias depending on where they believe a person lives in the area and all the rest, or they don't need a job because they live here, or they, so there's a lot of that, and which is one of the reasons that most times on my resumes, I don't put the address unless it's a PO box, and even then, depending on where it's located, not so much. Interesting. Anything else? Did you guys notice in the employment experience area? I haven't heard anybody say it, so I'll just say, look at the dates there. And
Inconsistencies, yep.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So the formatting there is okay. Good.
Yep. And there's some inconsistency in the capitalization in the
Yeah.
summary of skills.
Yep.
I just feel like it's really like job responsibility focused, and it doesn't highlight anything about their value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's true, Lori, but my point was just that at some levels that this is just an amazing resume because there so few people even have one. So
I
I'm
know,
just
I
saying,
just think we could still like elevate
Oh,
it. a little
sure.
bit, right? Mm-hmm.
So what things would you add about value, Lori? How would you add
And I think I go back to some of the things Martha was saying is, could we add some numbers to get a sense of the scope of their responsibility? So how many claims did you process in a given day? Was that, what was the standard for how many you can process? Maybe you exceeded the standard by 10%. Handled patient information in accordance with HIPAA guidelines. So getting in some additional keywords that really will help to ring some bells for the medical field if they want to do medical administration.
So Maureen, like if this is your, I don't know, but if this is your client, right? Sometimes they're going to say, well, I don't know how many clients I served. I don't know. And so you can start to corner them,
I
right?
do.
So, okay,
It's,
at least 10.
yeah, was it between 5 and 10?
Was it 100?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, those are all questions that I use and I probe, and it's surprising with some of the people at this level. They'll say, oh, I did this. And then you start asking questions and asking, okay, within that, did you do this or this or this? And by the time they get a resume, they're just thrilled because they're thinking, oh, I just took care of, I submitted claims or whatever. And so it's, I think in a lot of instances, it's very heartwarming to see how these people respond when they recognize that they do have that value. And they take that resume with them, and you just know that they're going to go out there and try to get a job that really inspires them. So
I'm so glad to have people like you on the front lines. That's so good.
Well, I'm doing them virtually right now, and I'm almost thinking about asking if I can do Zoom, because I'm getting these resumes that they don't have any quantification, and there really isn't any way for me to ask these probing questions. And so I can put something in based on, what I know and what I've experienced, but whether or not that's accurate for the person that I'm working on.
Oh, so you're not even getting to talk to these people? Not even by phone? No communication? Wow, so you are simply taking what they've given you and restructuring it and
Right.
Wow,
Yeah,
that was a really difficult job.
that's why I'm not doing it again yet.
Yeah.
I said, until I can talk to them, I'm not doing it. You're
I'm
amazing.
rethinking this, but I'll do it then until they say this isn't working or you're not working. And so.
No, I think, okay, so let me say, if I were in that position and I could not talk to the person but I know what would make a very healthy bullet point. I may put something like in red, and I might just use a number sign, put it in red,
Do that.
you fill in everything that's in red, and then send it.
I do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I think, was there a second page to this one? Yes, okay.
Oh,
I have a question.
I was going to ask about education. Oh, wow.
So let me ask you on here, do you see the line, the third line, the third bullet point there? And then the second line where the word procedures is? Do you
Yes,
have a problem using orphan words?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, if you got rid of the ampersand, because you can't use an ampersand as an and, it's only in titles, that might pull the documentation down to the next line.
Good, okay, good. So you saw that one. All right, good. Anything else in there?
Well, boy, she doesn't seem entry level anymore.
And I don't see any punctuation anywhere. I don't know what.
Yeah, no end punctuation. Yeah.
Good. And then at the last one there says created an employees training course instead of an
Yeah, needs a apostrophe.
or does it just need to be an employee?
Employee training course.
Mm-hmm.
Either one.
They created employee training course. I wouldn't even use and.
Using PowerPoint, used by all. So I just added a few things in there to see what you guys would come up with. All right.
Okay.
Any other comments or?
One thing I see that I never use on resumes is responsible for.
Yeah, yeah.
What I jokingly tell people is one, that it's passive, but two, it means that you didn't even do it. It just means that you were supposed to do it. So
Right.
I usually put a nice verb in there.
Good, thanks.
That's such a good point. I've never been a fan of responsible for, but not for that reason. And now I have a new reason to hate it. Okay.
What do
Well, what I
like
tell
it
them is
for?
because I say, hey, if you have kids, we're all responsible for parenting our kids, but you see a lot of kids running amok in the world. Nobody's parenting them. You want to be the
Oh,
person
for
who
the
actually
heaven's
did the
sake.
stuff.
There was a time when, it probably still exists, where some people, especially in entry-level jobs, when you say responsible, it makes them feel special. If I'm
Yeah.
responsible, and so they want that word in there, which is very interesting because that's, ooh, I am responsible. That means I'm as is important. So, it's really right. And that's a culture, a mindset kind of thing that you have to help people get past. And
That's a good point.
sometimes they will insist. They want that there because it really makes them feel good about themselves. So there's that.
Yes. Okay, so Rico, were there other mistakes that we just maybe didn't have time to explore?
All right, I'm gonna let y'all do that later and we'll come back to it if we have more time because we need other ones. Yes.
All right. And so then we have, I'm going to let Jerry take it away, and she's going to help us walk through this client's resume. So I think you have, so yeah, this was kind of two different versions of the same person. So walk us through it, Jerry.
Okay. Miranda has been a client for, I don't know, 6 years maybe. And the last time she talked to me, she wanted to, I can't remember all of this. I'm going to have to look up what I wrote. Excuse me.
And then Lori, you'll be next. So just in case you have notes. So just in the meantime, while Jerry is looking at her notes, feel free to just kind of study the resume.
Brenda, can you go on to Lori's? I have no idea where I
Okay, no
put
problem.
that.
Well,
And-
I don't know why.
We'll come on back.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, Lori.
Okay, so this gentleman was relocating from the UAE, and he was very concerned that his experience wouldn't be taken seriously, wouldn't be given the credit it was due. He had some really impressive accomplishments, And so in order to kind of alleviate the question mark as to whether or not he had the right to work in the United States, we made the decision to put that as basically for the 7 months that he was out of work, being that not only was he relocating to the United States, but that he was applying for and obtaining his authorization to work in the United States. And then we highlighted just some education that he was pursuing so that he could showcase that he was familiar with just management styles and employment law in the United States. And so that's why, you've got that one kind of section there right under professional experience that showcases, some of those things to help alleviate some of those fears. He had some really great accomplishments. They were, a lot of business transformation, and so you'll see a lot of those in there. I think I saw this same kind of technique of highlighting core competencies at the beginning of in the skill words that start off the bullet points. That's something that I do oftentimes just to kind of draw interest to the bullets. And so if someone's really interested in optimizing sales or in business innovation, they know right where to go and look for the bullet point that kind of relates to that.
I like it. I like it. So let's look at the second page. Oops, sorry. The second page here, and then we'll go back. And if you have questions for Lori or some suggestions, some constructive feedback, that will be the time. So here is the page. I am curious how these vertical slashes got this high. Like, these are really.
I think that's like some kind of translation.
Oh, it could be okay. All right.
I don't know.
I like them high. I just didn't know how to get them that high.
Yeah, I had the same question.
I have no idea. That doesn't look like that on my end, so I'm not sure.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
First page, I guess, more than anything. Now, is this the only resume you provide, or is this a presentation resume like Jerry does? Do you give two versions like Jerry does?
This is the only resume.
Yeah, okay, that's what I do too. Now, that sales and operations leader, is that a box or is that just shaded and then border?
It is just borders and shading. Yeah.
Okay, just curious.
Yep. I don't do.
Because I never knew. I didn't know you could border shading. So I just learned something. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just borders and shading. And so yeah, and I also see like some of the formatting kind of got lost in the translation, because it looks like where you see core competencies, the shading looks off. Do you see that? And the same with the professional experience. So I'm not sure if it was just in the translation from me to Rico, and I'm not sure what happened there. But on my end, it's a nice even border and shading.
It looks like a 10% shade.
Yeah, I tried to grab them from the PDFs to avoid that kind of problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me look at mine. Let me just see.
Even Jerry's, it came across like you could tell some of the alignment had gotten a little.
Wonder why.
Yeah. But, and
Yeah,
so
who knows?
that was part of my question to you, was like these vertical slashes kind of stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I probably would have just rearranged some of the terms so that they didn't stack perfectly on top.
It made those vertical slashes really large. Like I said, in mine, they're just little guys.
just regular.
I don't know. So that's good for me to know that doesn't translate from my version of Word to your version of Word. And so it's something that I definitely need to take a look at, how I'm converting it from Word to PDF. Because I think I sent a PDF, right, Rico, if I remember correctly?
I think you sent the Word.
Oh.
And so that is probably why it got skewed a little bit.
Got it.
Okay.
So it's always good to know that, we have to remember that our versions sometimes don't translate well to all systems.
But
And-
PDF, that's supposed to be the beauty of PDF, isn't it? That,
But when she sent this to us to
yeah.
posting, she sent the Word copy. not
Oh, and so the word to word, I see, I
the
see.
Word
Uh-huh.
messed it up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, and then her second page, because I grabbed a different kind of screenshot, it looks a little different, but you can tell same flow here. And I like this early career experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, just really nice little summary of something that they did.
Mhm.
2010. So here, I'm always asking people, like, don't ever just tell me you have a Bachelor of Science. Like, what was the subject? What was the major area? Did he not like recall? Because every now and again, you get people that are like, I don't really know what kind of degree it was, or I've never
That
understood that.
is a good question. And now you've got me doubting myself because I always put a degree in there. I'm like, oh
Well-
my goodness. I might have removed it when I was depersonalizing it,
Could've,
Now
yeah.
I've got to check.
Yeah, but it could be sometimes like if somebody's like, he's in sales of, what kind of products were they? I don't know if it says.
Lighting.
Pardon?
He was in lighting.
Lighting.
Yeah.
So if he got a degree in,
Philosophy.
Right.
yeah, or microbiology or something that was totally, sometimes it's practical to leave it out. That might have been what you were thinking.
Could be.
I didn't leave it out on purpose. I will tell you.
Oh.
So I'm just now I'm checking to see if I actually left it out on the original one. I think, what I did is when I was taking the personalization out, I removed it by accident and didn't fix it. So I apologize. That's my oversight.
That's all right.
And
So-
I fully suspect the same will be true on my end. Who knows what I took out trying to keep this person's
I
info
know.
private. Okay.
Lori, I'm sure that was your first mistake in 2020.
Yes, definitely not. It may be the first mistake this hour, but yeah.
So
You're
let me
entitled.
about this here. She says 366% plus. I've done something like that before, and then I had a client come back and say, I don't know how I feel about the percent and the plus. I don't know that I mind it, but is there any sort of kind of best practice around that? Is there a better way to communicate?
About approximately 360%.
But that's not as powerful to me as 366 plus, like, because that implies that it was probably greater.
Yeah, I like that. What's wrong with that?
I don't know that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just asking a question here.
Oh, I would have done the same thing.
Me too. I use it all the time.
I do too. I do too.
It's short.
Yeah, I just remember it was probably 5-6 years ago that a client was just like, I don't know how I feel about percent and plus next blanket. So it made me doubt myself.
Oh, don't ever do that.
No,
I've had
I do
people
it. I do
argue
it.
about punctuation too, and I know my punctuation.
Yes, I do. Oh man, I love it. Okay.
What do you guys think about, have you ever had someone who was relocating from another country and maybe didn't have the right to work, or I'm sorry, like had achieved the right to work in the US, but like was worried that their experience wouldn't be seen as relevant? How have you dealt with that?
I think much like you, from your kind of military to civilian transition perspective, how you give the functional language as opposed to the formal title that they may have held in the military.
Am I computer?
To an MBA in the United States.
I don't hear anybody. Did my computer stop? My connection. Oh, glory.